Good afternoon. Each week we sit down with an interesting person in Erath County and ask them 10 questions. Today we sit down with Bill Closter with the Dublin Dr. Pepper. How are you, Mr. Closter?
Doing fine, Micah. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, well, let's get right into it.
Okay.
Tell us, there's a lot of people who know many of the Closters, but where do you fit into the Closter family?
Okay, my dad, Bill Closter, was the patriarch, really, of Dublin Dr. Pepper. I mean, he started here when he was 14 years old, assumed ownership of the company in 1991. So that was my dad. My two sons and I assumed ownership of the plant when he passed away in 1999. Mm-hmm. Mark, one of my sons, was very active in the business since 1988, and is no longer active in the business. But my eldest son, Jeff, is also active in. Jeffrey Closter is also active in the business.
Very cool. All right. So, you've known Dublin Dr. Pepper most of your life, or all of your life, then?
All of my life. In fact, there's a photograph down in our museum area. Sam Houston Prim started this company in 1891. There's a picture of Sam Houston Prim on the office wall. Mm-hmm. There's a young man sitting on his lap. Well, that young man is me. So in one picture, it's captured the origination of the founding of the company to the current ownership.
Oh, wow. Very cool. All right, well, tell us a little bit. What are your daily responsibilities?
My responsibilities are more in the strategic aspects of the business. I have an incredibly devoted, loyal staff. Kent Crouch and Jay and the rest of the guys really take care of the day-to-day aspects of the business. Most of my activities surround corporate relations, personal interest things. People, some lady just turns 101 years old and has enjoyed Dr. Pepper and attributes her longevity to drinking a daily Dr. Pepper. Write her a note and send her a case of Dr. Pepper. So I don't work very hard.
It must be nice. All right, well, tell us, you've come a long way from whatever your very first job is, but what was that? What was your very first job?
Well, actually, my very first job was here at Dublin Dr. Pepper. Mm-hmm. When I was in high school, well, even before high school.
Sure. And what did you do around the plant?
At that time, we were bottling every day. At that age, you got to sort bottles because we were bottling all in returnable bottles, so mm-hmm. all the bottles would come back. So you had to sort them into the different types of flavors, and then operating the bottle washing machine. So, but my first job, I would classify my really first job was when I graduated from the University of Texas, and I went to work for Ford Motor Company in Detroit. That was back in 1964. I worked for them for a couple of years. Decided I didn't want to spend the rest of my life in Detroit, so I applied to General Dynamics, which became Lockheed Martin, and I ended up spending 42 years with the combination of General Dynamics, Lockheed Martin.
Wow, very cool.
And I actually retired from there about 3 years ago, and upon my retirement from Lockheed, came back into Dublin Dr. Pepper.
How fun. All right, who do you count as your mentors?
Relative to this business, my dad. I really couldn't consider anyone else.
Mm-hmm. All right, next question. If you could change one thing about yourself, what would it be?
Change one thing about myself. I guess, thinking back over the years, my faith is very strong now. I wish that I had discovered that faith at a much earlier age.
Very neat, very neat. All right, another work-related question.
Okay.
In your position with Dublin Dr. Pepper, what are your greatest opportunities?
Our greatest opportunities is in the area I mentioned earlier as far as the strategic interest of the company. As many people are aware, Dublin Dr. Pepper is governed by a franchise. And technically we are restricted to selling our Dublin Dr. Pepper within that franchise area.
Mm-hmm.
I have tried and been trying very diligently for some time now to encourage the corporation, Dr. Pepper Snapple Group, to recognize the power of Dublin Dr. Pepper. I have pointed out to them numbers of times that we get for free advertising for brand Dr. Pepper that they can't even buy, such as the cover of Texas Monthly Magazine.
Sure.
So there are enterprises outside our franchise area that would like to carry Dublin Dr. Pepper. So I'm trying to get them to recognize that it could be a win-win scenario for us to allow us to market Dublin Dr. Pepper in selected places outside our franchise area.
Very cool. All right, and then on the flip side of that, what are your greatest challenges?
Just the opportunity is the challenge to get the corporation to recognize that from a customer service standpoint, and I think even from a financial standpoint of building passion for brand Dr. Pepper, they need to utilize and play off the Dublin Dr. Pepper, the popularity that Dublin Dr. Pepper brings to the table.
Yes, sir. All right, how has technology impacted the way you do business from day to day?
Well, it's certainly impacted us in that the bottling equipment that we currently have operational will only accommodate the old returnable bottles. So we were considering actually building a new plant that would accommodate the non-returnable bottles and the plastic bottles, and so today we have to subcontract with other people to actually package our Dublin Dr. Pepper for us. And because of the technology change, we're having to do that.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd like to upgrade our technology a little bit so that we didn't have to depend on someone else to package our product for us.
Get that back here in Dublin.
Right.
All right, tell us something about yourself that most people do not know.
Well, I bleed very orange. I graduated from the University of Texas. One of the trick questions whenever you go to parties and you list things that allegedly facts about you and are all true, except maybe one's false. One of the things I put up there is I'm a graduate of Texas A&M. Well, which is true because I graduated from Tarleton when it was really still a two-year college. So I actually graduated from Tarleton, which is a part of the A&M system. So I'm a graduate of both Texas A&M and the University of Texas.
and you don't find that very often.
No.
All right, and last question. If you could have a different career other than what you're doing today, what would it be?
Well, I've actually kind of done that. You're kind of catching me at this stage of my life of where I had a different career. I had 42 years in the aerospace industry. Where I am, I wouldn't trade the opportunity I have with Dublin Dr. Pepper to go anywhere now.
All right, completely content, and how awesome is that?
Yeah, obviously.
Yes, sir. All right, well, thank you, Mr. Kloster, and thank you, Erath County. Make sure to check back to Empire-Tribune.com frequently to see who we'll sit down with next.